Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Forward Thinkers Talk series. My name is Dr. Ivo Pezzuto. I'm a professor of economics and management and the founder of Ivo Pezzuto Forward Thinking Lab. In this episode, in this space in particular, we invite prominent and emerging entrepreneurs, company leaders, forward thinkers, in order to let them share their thought-provoking ideas, expertise in business, economics, management, and on the latest innovations, emerging trends, technology, and ideas. I'm very pleased to have today here with us Francesco Scalambrino, a great innovator, forward thinker, and entrepreneur. So, Francesco, welcome to this episode.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for taking the time. We know that to be an entrepreneur of a startup, and it's a very busy schedule. So we appreciate big gratitude for the time you take for doing this, because we know it's not easy in this stage of your activity. So Francesco, to get started with the questions, you are the co-founder and chief product officer of Jet HR, and the former top manager of international unicorns, like country manager of Italy for Paid Fit and product director for Oyster, and other great international experience. So you have a lot of experience as an entrepreneur, as a startupper. Your current new venture, Jet HR, is a promising tech startup which aims to deliver seamless and user-friendly digital HR services, in particular to SMEs, small and medium-sized firms, through your proprietary application or software service platform. I've read that your company's mission is to help firms streamline processes, improve automation, productivity, scalability, most of all, eliminate bureaucracy. We're really curious. We'd like to know more about what is Jet HR, what it's all about, and why do you think this initiative, this venture, can be a game changer for Italy? And also, what is the innovation gap your company is aiming to fill with this new and unique business model? Sorry for the long question.
Yeah. So thanks again for having me and for the opportunity. I will answer step by step. So the first question is, what is Jet HR? So Jet HR is a new platform because we started less than 1 year ago. And the goal of this digital platform is to provide an easy solution for companies from 1 employee to 600-700 employees to manage employees, hire them, onboard them, manage their holidays, manage their bonuses, pay them, run the payroll, give them a laptop, stay compliant with trainings and security and a lot of other stuff. So it's the only one place for companies to manage in an easy and digital way their employees. The center of it probably is the employee directory and the payroll, but it's very horizontal product. So we aggregate a lot of services. We streamline the user experience, and we let companies use the product and manage their employees easily, compared to having a lot of providers, and maybe some of them are not digital. So this is what we do, which was your first question. The second question was, I think, like, why this is an opportunity or a game changer in Italy, if I remember correct. So why we think that why in Italy? So there are similar companies around the globe, especially in US, where rules and bureaucracy is a bit lower, a lot lower, probably. So there it happened years and years ago, and now those platforms are evolving. While the opportunity now is in Italy, because the level of bureaucracy and the regulations that we have in Italy connected to employees, managing people, and so it's extremely high. And so it's very difficult to streamline and digitalize the processes. But now we are in a point in which creating technology, creating companies is much better than 10 years ago. And so the opportunity is that we think we can create a much better user experience. I think that now also Italy is ready to digitalize that this part. And so the opportunity is that we are the first one moving into this direction with a solution for the end user, which in this case is the company itself, and not with a solution for the intermediaries. So our software is designed to be used and by the company itself. It's not a pro software that has to be used by a specialist that then sell his service to the company. So we go directly to the company.
Okay,
so this is the opportunity and what differentiates us from other companies. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is an important value proposition. The single platform, as you said, for all HR management activities, from administrative tasks to any other task related to that. So that's very, very, very interesting. And also, you basically explained why you and your co-founder have decided to launch, in particular in Italy, in this country, because of the bureaucracy and because the need, the mission to try to reduce the bureaucracy, especially for the SMEs, and to create this opportunity. Regarding this second point, what would you see as in the future? What do you see as opportunities and challenges in eventually scaling up, internationalizing a digital platform model, starting from one country and going international? And we generally think of internationalization, export, whatever, more to products and services, and less in terms of digital platforms and digital business models like your company is, the software as a service platform. For internationalization, now, regardless of whether you want to do it immediately or later on, how do you see the pros and cons, opportunities and challenges when you try to take a platform international, thinking about Europe, but that could be other countries related to differences in the different countries? And what are the challenges and opportunities? What are the pros and cons and the implications that require, considering that you have experience with digital platforms and tech business operating in international locations? You worked in Paris, in France, and in other places, so you do have an understanding of what it's like working in a different country with digital business model.
Yeah, so that's a very broad and interesting question. So basically, how is to try to internationalize those type of platform? So if I try to be structured in my answer, I would say that internationalizing products that are regulated and they are like ours, it's very, very difficult, because when you are in US, the market is enough to build something. And yes, you have a bit of different regulations between one state or another state in US, but in the end, there are a lot of things in common. Like some laws are in common, the language is in common, the digitalization of the country is somehow in common. While in Europe, we really every country is different, every market is different, the level of digitalization of each market is different. Some aspects of the regulations are different. So in our case, the labor laws, the payroll, the tax implications, everything is completely different. If you build something in Italy and then you want to do it in Spain because you think that, okay, Spain is somehow similar culture than Italy, then you face a completely different reality in terms of laws and whatever. So it's not that you just try to localize the product and it works. You have to rebuild half of the product from scratch. And also in terms of go-to-market, it's very difficult when you go into this type of products, because maybe in one country you just have an accountant that also serves the payroll and some HR services. In other countries, you have a split of roles between who's doing the payroll and who's doing the accountant. So there are a lot of things that are specific country by country. And so to answer to your question, it's very, very hard. And the more you go into the regulated aspect of it, because you want to wipe out the bureaucracy, right? So what we want to do is to really go into the regulations and try to simplify so that we get the difficult part and we expose a simple user experience to the customer. So the more you go deep into the bureaucracy, the more it's difficult to do it in another country. Okay. So this is our general thought. And so what is our belief is that you should dominate a geography. So in our case, it's Italy, before you dilute your effort and open too many markets. That doesn't mean that we will never be international, but it means that we are just focused on Italy until we crack the market, until we know that is scaling well here, and then we have enough CPU, like our head, to focus on another geography, and then maybe we will go to one single geography and so on. While some other startups in our space, they try to, in my opinion, they try to scale too fast in other countries, and they were not big enough, and they started diluting efforts on 4 or 5 geographies in a regulated environment, and it's very, very inefficient. So our approach is one geography, dominated the geography, then in case think to a second and a third geography.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Matt. That's very insightful. And just out of curiosity for myself, would you say, not necessarily for your company now, but in general, that expanding the business internationally, given this type of business model and regulatory constraints, and would it be easier to go with an M&A type of strategy? You buy something international because they know already regulation stuff locally, or it's easier to go greenfield? You just develop subsidiaries or part of your activities there rather than just doing acquisitions in a software, in a platform business model.
So I in my career, like before Jet, I worked for 2 companies that were both in Europe, so international, and they follow different approaches. The first one was doing small acquisitions to start a market, and the second one was building from scratch. It's very difficult to answer. I would say that according to our philosophy, probably it's easier to build from scratch because you want to focus on one single country at a time. So in theory, you reach a level in which you have enough resources and enough focus to say, I want to start one single geography. So I'm able to focus and to start to do the research and the stuff. While if you want to open, I don't know, three countries in 2 years or on 1 year, it could be easier to, if you have the money to do the M&A, to say, okay, let's start acquiring fast 3 companies, 1 per geographies, so that I can kick off and speed up the first part, so the discovery and having already customers. So I tend to think that it's better to do less geographies and build from scratch, than to just buy and then go faster in that sense. But I don't know. It's my gut feeling.
I see your point. You say you have to be strong in one country to start with, and then you can grow elsewhere.
Yeah, totally.
Just one final point on this question. What about the talent pool? Differences in different countries. How difficult it is to find a good talent pool in Italy, for example, rather than abroad in terms of digital skills?
Yeah, that's a very good one. So what we're seeing is that for sure in Italy, we don't miss the talent. There are talented people. We still have good schools. We have good developers. We have especially good designers, I think. We have good and talented people. The problem in Italy is that if you, for example, in our case, we launch a SaaS B2B product. You need a talent, of course, but also it would be easier if you have a talent that work in a place in another SaaS B2B. Okay. The problem is that there are not a lot of ecosystem. Like if you So you don't have other SaaS B2B, for example, in our case, to steal talents. So you need to grow your own talents, because we are not in an ecosystem in which, I don't know, we have 5 unicorns that scale up SaaS B2B. So you don't have names to go there and get the talents. For example, when I was working in Paris, France has a very good ecosystem in terms of startup. So there were like a unicorns category, almost unicorns category, like a Series A category, Series B categories, like a lot of pools of famous startup. And if you wanted to steal a talent or to get a talent, you have a great pool of good companies in which you know that those people are talented and they are skilled on SaaS, on B2C and whatever. In Italy, we miss that part. And if you're doing a regulated product, it's very difficult in this stage to say, okay, I will go outside to steal a talent, because if you don't want, if you need Italian regulations, you need people that understand the regulations, so that speaks Italian. So I would say that this part probably is one of, if we could reach the talents in all Europe, would be much easier. But right now, for this phase, we want people to understand the law. We want people to understand the regulations, and at least you need to speak Italian. So this part, it's pretty difficult.
Okay, that's a very good point. Very good explanation, and very insightful, important aspect of the competitiveness in each country. Now, if I remember correctly, your background, you are an engineer from Polytechnic of Milan, a grade school, and of course, and in particular, I think you are a mechanical engineer. Now, how did you get into the HR tech? You know, in particular in the HR space. You know, and how did you get to this thing? You know, what are the what gets you there, first of all, and in particular about your current new venture, you know, Jet HR, which the word, you know, Jet already gives an idea of speed. What are the cultural, organizational, and you know, operational models, you know, practice that you think define a little bit the culture of your startup, and what did you learn abroad that, you know, you think it makes this an enabler for innovation in the country? What you know, what is so strong about your organization in terms of entrepreneurial culture that's leading to highly motivated and high performance teams? How do you get teams to be highly motivated, and how do you recruit? How do you get the talents and motivate them to be high performance and speedy innovators in this country?
Yeah, so I will answer to both questions. So the first one, how I ended up into HR tech.
Yeah.
Like almost randomly. Like I was a designer in the first part of my career, and then I switched to product management, and I was working in other companies, also B2C companies. And then at some point I joined Payfit in France. Payfit was one of the most promising companies in France at the time. Was still the time of Series B. I met the founders, and they convinced me to join. I think at that point it was like 200, maybe 250 people. So it was already scaling, but it was not like huge. And then was run. I like the founders, I like the company, but I never worked in HR before. And then after I saw the opportunity there, what they were doing there, the company grew so much into a unicorn company, more than 1,000 employees and so on. I kind of went so deep into the problems of to solve that I almost fell in love with this HR tech. And I think that the reason is that there are so many problems to solve. It's not just one single problem. It's like you have to hire, you have to onboard, you have to pay, you have to be compliant with taxes, you have to, everything. It's like doing a lot of startups all together. So it's not easy to get bored from my point of view. The second question of yours was what are the values, how we operate at Jet, what is different from other companies.
Yeah.
So if I have to sum it up in few words, the only things that matters for us, and we really go extreme on this, is the speed of iteration. So we really believe that the only chance that we have to become huge is to iterate really fast, because in this space there are a lot of undigitalized player or digitalized player, but they do software that is not easy to use, and those guys have so much money. So if they want, they have money to invest, but they are slow. So we have resources that are super limited compared to those big names, but we are super fast, and we go extreme on this. So our value is speed of iteration. So we just believe in speed of iteration, and this is a value that we use also to select people. So when we do recruiting, we try to understand if we are fit for this candidate and if the candidate is fit for us, which means, look, if you come here, you will not do things in a perfect way. You will not follow the book of how to do things perfectly. We rather go fast, and then we iterate if things are not good enough. Right. So we really iterate, and we really iterate fast. We always talk to customers, and we really try to deliver as fast as we can. And this engine give us a lot of advantage till we can sustain this speed. So this is what it's all about, and we use it also to select people. It's one of our main driver. And the second one I would say is that we believe so much in autonomy, and it's really reflected in our company culture. Like we tend to hire senior profile. We have, for example, in product position, like designers and engineers, we don't have junior profiles, they're all mid or senior profiles. And we believe so much in people and in autonomy of people that our company, for example, is full remote, but not full remote. Hey, but you have to be in the office 1 day a week. Yeah. There are people that we saw just one time in 6 months. Okay. We really don't care where you are because we trust you. We just organize company retreats, but just for the sake of being together and build a team. But basically, we never see people in real life except the group that is in Milan. So the group that is in Milan, usually we come to the office together, but we really trust people. We trust the autonomy of the people. So I would say that speed and autonomy and trust is probably the two values that we are carrying on.
So you are aiming to reduce bureaucracy outside for the market, for the clients, and you definitely reduce bureaucracy internally.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. Like we do everything to reduce overheads internally. Yeah. Like as long as we can, we will keep the hierarchy flat. Yeah. Now we're close to 30 people. We have other 10 positions open. Yeah. So for a company of 9 months, is a lot of people. Yeah. But we are trying to really to reduce as much as we can the overhead. And you do that by giving few rules, senior people you can trust, and this reduce a bit the overhead. If you set so many rules because you don't trust the people, because you are a control maniac, like then you start feeling bureaucracy already. 30, 40 people, you already start feeling the bureaucracy, the internal bureaucracy.
Yeah, so you have this entrepreneurial mindset where every employee is an entrepreneur, basically, and is equally engaged, motivated, and interactive with all the others.
Correct. Yeah.
Very lean, very agile, very sort of network type of organization. Okay, yeah. That's very exciting, very interesting. This moment, this particular moment of our life or our business, it seems that there is a huge, very exciting hype for, and also not only hype but also commitment to digital transformation, to acceleration of the digital business models and so on. And in particular now there is a big focus on digital innovation, algorithms, AI, generative AI, LLM models, large language, and all this acceleration in digital cloud-based cloud computing strategies. Now, is this in this particular moment? How is your company, your firm currently viewing this trend and planning perhaps to grow also in the AI-driven HR tech services?
Yeah, that's a very good one. So in the beginning, when I say beginning, it means 6 months ago or 8 months ago. We were not looking at that, but now we are start doing tests because we see opportunity, especially in the customer support, to start using AI based on our own contents and on our own proprietary contents, not to the final customer so that the customer can ask things to AI, but for our operations team, so customer support and so on, that can leverage AI trained on proprietary contents to streamline the replies, to start streamlining some processes, onboarding processes, and so on. So we see the opportunity, especially, at least right now, we see the opportunity especially as an internal tool for the operations to onboard customer faster, to always have write a draft of an answer to a ticket. So we see, we are trying to do some experiments, but I think the next year we will for sure deliver something as an internal tool.
Because I imagine that moving forward, AI will also be an enabler for customer experience and simplifying some processes, even on the customer side. In terms of
yes,
I was reading about a number of companies focused, especially in the US, on staffing and recruiting, like Skill8, Eightfold, Fuel 50, HireVue, Seekouts, and many others that are doing things with the AI in the human resources area, and I think probably that the market is growing very fast.
Yeah, I think we will start internally because also you have more control. Basically, you are testing the quality of what AI is doing before releasing externally.
Yeah,
maybe we will release at some point externally, but for sure we want to keep control of the quality of what we're doing. So I think it's a great thing to start internally in our space, and then maybe to study that as an external tool.
Well, yeah, very, very, very interesting. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of very exciting new initiatives, new projects that on your radar for these things. And I'm taking a lot of time from you, so I just want to ask two final, very quick questions, if I can. One is about it's a small team, but leadership. And you said a lot about your leadership, and this came to my mind. How do you influence role model as a role model? How do you inspire? Not just in this experience in the last job, but even the previous ones. How do you get to to inspire the others and to be not only a forward thinker and an innovator, but also an inspiring leader, which is somehow, from my point of view, probably even harder. One thing is to be a talented, brilliant person. Another thing is to get the whole team to be engaged, even more motivated. From your experience, how do you get to be a leader that's really transformational and inspiring for the others?
Yeah, this is also a good question. I never thought deeply about these kind of things. So sometimes you think it comes natural, but it's a process that maybe took 10 years to become how you're playing the role now. So I would say that in my last 2 or 3 experiences, and in Jet for sure is the case, I think that being a leader is much easier because we set the bar very high in the recruiting. So we attract the good people. And then after you put the bar so high, so talented people, very empowered by the mission that you have, very fit to the company, to the stage of the company, to the values of speed and all the values that we have, then when they join, and also a lot of people are senior, so you don't need to be really a mentor, but more like someone that helps them to deliver and so on. So when you set the bar so high in recruiting, I would say that being a leader, it's much an easier job because you have super senior people that sometimes are much better than you in what they do.
That's right.
And so the job, honestly, it become pretty easy.
Yeah.
The problem is that you need to be very, very consistent and good in recruiting. The problems comes when you lower a bit the bar on recruiting, because maybe you have 20 positions opened and you have 2 months or 3 months or 4 months to fill those positions. And at some point you start saying, okay, I'm in a rush and I need to hire. And then when you hire the wrong people, or I mean, there's not like totally right or totally wrong. Let's say that there are people that is also the gray area in the middle. But when you start to get those people, then you need to spend time managing them, motivating them, extra motivating them, because otherwise they're not motivated enough.
Yeah.
Explaining, and then it becomes difficult. For now, like again, like the bar was high in the recruiting. We were lucky probably, and I have to say that even in my previous company, the culture was really good, and the bar was high enough that also the leadership role there was kind of easy. Going back in the past, I experienced much more like people that were not fit, and then you need to manage them. People that were not aligned to the mission, and then you need all the time to motivate them, or like that was much harder.
So, okay, so you say it's easier to coordinate a team of highly motivated and talented people because they are all very much focused. And in this sense, the fact that you are selecting the very best, you as a innovative startup become a sort of innovation hub that attracts, and all these people, all these talents gravitate around this pole of attraction. I understand that it's more or less what you would see in the high-tech companies in Silicon Valley or something like that. Yeah, I think so. So that's very exciting, even for the candidates. And as I said, the last thing that comes to my mind when I think of startup and a very dynamic, speedy startup, and also to the investors of the startup. I know you attracted investors. You have raised important capital in your rounds, record rounds, pre-seeds. You have what's your radar when you think about your goals, your KPI, things like scalability, revenues, margin, EBITDA.
Yeah.
What's
so
on your radar, or productivity, or customer satisfaction? What's on your radar?
So like the good thing about one of the cool thing about being in a SaaS business, in a B2B SaaS business, software as a service, is that in the end, they're like all the SaaS B2B share some of the same revenue, so you don't need to invent. It's really easy to stick with a typical SaaS metrics. The only thing is that there are a lot of SaaS metrics that you can follow. You need to follow the right one for your stage. So in our stage, what is really our North Stars are, of course, the monthly recurrent revenue. So the MRR, the subscription on a monthly base, and the ARR, annual recurrent revenue, which is just the monthly current revenue multiplied by 12. So that it gives you the forward revenue, yearly forward revenue scale of what you're doing. And the other things that we are looking is the customer success. So now we are now was in the beginning was qualitative. So we interviewed customers, we talked to them a lot. We read the tickets to see if they were experiencing a good, if they have a good experience. Now we are moving into measuring a lot their experience, customer satisfaction. We will introduce NPS, Net Promoter Score, soon, because in the end we need to grow, and half of the engine of growth, probably, maybe, I don't know if half but a significant part would be people saying that this tool is completely different from whatever they have experienced, and this can enable our growth a lot. So we are focusing on the customer experience, customer satisfaction, these kind of things. Third place, I would say gross margin. We have a good idea of how it will look like, but we are starting measuring gross margin. We are not super optimizing for gross margin right now. We are more optimizing still for growth. But compared to startups before the crisis, let's say the collapse of the valuation, we already have measurement of the gross margin at months 8 or 9, while probably 2 years ago you start taking care about gross margin second or third year, like we start looking at it. So I would say that those three are the core points.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think in particular, as you said, the word of mouth and the referrals, member gets member, that kind of stuff. That's also very important to get the business known on the market. Well, Francesco, you really shared a lot of your experience, your thoughts, your vision, and I think that it's been extremely valuable. The insight you gave, a lot of brilliant ideas and experience and vision. What this SaaS software service business model will go, and I think that's really the future in many ways. It's especially in countries where these models have been less, widely spread. So I think this is a great innovation, probably right timing and a great timing for a country like this. And we hope that these models will bring a lot more productivity and growth and innovation to your customers and to your to the industry as well. So I would like to thank you very much for the time that you said to dedicate. It's a really great, fantastic contribution, and I look forward to meeting you again, and I wish you all the best for this venture.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Ivo. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. So talk to you soon, and all the best. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.